Close to the rest of the day. So let me just take 1 minute to tell you something about the LEAD program. Some of you have already been bored to tears because I keep repeating the story, but for some it's new. So there is the Leadership Exchange Ambassador Program, which is an initiative by Mensa International, which aims to find active Mensans who are like volunteers within their national Mensa. And if they have something that is of interest to other Mensas as well, they can be selected based on a presentation that they give, like a web presentation, and you fill out some forms. You can be selected to be sent off to the American gathering, which is an extremely wonderful and crazy experience, especially this year, I think. Yeah. And also the EMAG, which is of course here, or the Asian one. So you go like to the American one and the European or the Asian one. This year we have, well, maybe the people who are in the committee this year can raise their hands. So everybody knows if you want to have more information, then just come and talk to us. And we have Holly there, who just gave a wonderful, very inspiring presentation. And I think the other LEAD candidates for this year actually have gone visiting Zurich.
Who could win?
If you are interested in the LEAD program, then you'll get more information. You can find it basically in the first months of the year. And everyone who is a volunteer in their national Mensa can apply and might be selected by next year's LEAD committee to also fly across the world and give wonderful presentations, like the one by Jeudi Jeutten, who obviously is like a Finnish name, or
it's German.
It is German.
It's Jeutten.
Yeah.
It's Jeutten, but in the United States they pronounce it Jeutten.
All right, but yes, and looking at you, we would never have guessed at your name that you're actually from.
I know everybody thinks
American
I'm Irish or something.
But Jeudi was yesterday, isn't it?
What's that? Yes, Jeudi was yesterday. Yeah, and that's how I spell it.
Ah. So, please give a warm applause to our final LEAD candidate for this year.
Thanks everybody for coming. I know there's more interesting things to do in Zurich today, so I appreciate you coming out to see my little presentation, which is Marketing Mensa to the Perfect Democratic, a strategy for membership growth. This sounds kind of fancy, but you'll see when we get a little further that it isn't. So I am Jeudi Jeutten. I'm from Chicago area Mensa. I am currently the public relations officer. I actually have had a lot of hats within Mensa. I'm also the national site coordinator, so if you're interested in the site services in the United States, I'm who you come to. And running for national office, and I just have a lot of jobs that I do. So I today am here to talk about my Chicago area Mensa is CAM. So I sort of came up with a membership recruiting process and a public relations strategy, and have been doing some activities like that for 3 years now, I think. And I think I've come up with some unique ways to market Mensa to increase our membership in Chicago. And it's something that anybody can do all over the world, because this is a transferable process that I've come up with. So I use fan conventions, like, I'm sorry, let me start with my story. So where and how it began. So, I walked into a sci-fi convention several years ago, and I was walking around in the halls. I don't know if you know, but they have room parties after the convention. So I was walking down the halls, and this guy in a utilikilt, trademark utilikilt, starts chatting me up in the hallway. We started having a nice conversation, and after a while he says, "You seem pretty intelligent. Have you ever thought about joining Mensa?" I said, "You know, handsome man, yes, by God, I have thought of joining Mensa. Sign me right up." So the first thing I went to was a dinner, and everybody was sitting at the table, and I didn't know anybody, and I was feeling a little shy, and I walked in, and I sat down, and I said, "So what do you guys talk about?" Sit around and talk about string theory and quantum physics and stuff like that. And as I was uttering those words, a man was walking around handing out the little cardboard coasters that you put your drink on, so we could play Frisbee at the table. So that's the level of the people. I decided these are cool people. I could hang out with these people. So I felt like I had found my tribe. So I started off by just taking little groups to the theater, just volunteering that way. And then I started working at Halloween, which is our, we have a 4-day long Halloween party in Chicago, which everyone should come to. It's so fun. And so I did registration and various volunteering there. And then I was elected as a general representative. So when I got to be general representative, I found out that our membership had fallen. It had been steadily dropping. And we had fallen from second in the country to third, and we're still falling, and I decided that was going to be my goal, was to work on that. So, sorry, let me get my head together. Right, so I decided that that's what I was going to do. I'm going to go back up a little bit. And so that's why I started, and so I'm going to go through this and talk about what I do and how I do it, and where I do it, and who I do it to, what kind of people are at these, I know, and how I attempt to measure the success of this process and the additional PR and marketing activities that I've been involved in the last couple of years. So, again, why I started was that we had fallen to third place, and I found that alarming because we're the second largest chapter, or, well, we were the second largest, and so we had a brainstorming session, and we sat around and said, where can we find smart people? Where would we go? And I said, well, I was recruited at WindyCon, you know, the sci-fi convention, why don't we go there? And everybody went, bingo, that's a great idea, let's do that. So I did some research. The research is kind of sketchy, it's kind of hard to find, but there's actually there's a couple of marketing companies that market just to the fan demographic. So we're actually going to tap into that. I talked to American Mensa, and we're going to try to use their resources because it's not out there on the internet. You can't just find it. But I found a study that was done in 1977 that said that where did it go? Sorry. Oh, here it goes. Sorry. Okay. So there's a lot of crossover. Excuse me. So there's a lot of crossover between Mensans and fandom, and I'm sure you know. Mensans like sci-fi conventions, they like games, they like anime, they like, you know, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of crossover already, and so Mensans are already there. I figured there would be more Mensans, we could recruit them, and it's a fun way to get Mensans to volunteer, because you get a free day to work at a convention and hang out, and you get a free badge. So it's fun it's a win-win for everybody. And so at the conventions in Chicago, WindyCon has about 1,200 attendees. I did an anime con a month and a half ago, 28,000 people. So that's some pretty cheap exposure all in one place, and it's a bunch of smart people. So what I found with that research is that smart people go to conventions. Like I said, the last research that I found was in 1977, but it said that the college attainment level was something like 88% compared to the general population, which was like 39% at the time. So it was like 400% higher than the general population of the people at conventions are college educated, and many have even higher level degrees. So there's at least educated people, and you would assume many of those are also intelligent people, so it's a good place to find people that would want to join Mensa. So all kinds of Spanish cons, like if you look at the list of conventions that I found, there, you know, Sherlock Holmes, Star Trek, Tolkien, Trekkies, MST3K, I don't know if you have that here, Harry Potter. These are all things that if you're a Mensan, you know that's what Mensans are into. So there's conventions like this all over the world. So there's potential Mensans at all these conventions all over the world. So, like I said, they're all over the planet. They're in every state of the Union. I found them in all of those countries. There's more. There's one going on in London this year. We have WindyCon. We have DuckCon, which is more for kids. So we've got materials for Mensa kids, for youth involvement. There's MusicCon, MuseCon, which is also, I think, more family-oriented. We have a lot of family involvement in Mensa. And Anime Central, that's the one that hit 28,000 people. So that was a huge, huge convention, you know, and so we have a table there. here's the demographics. Sorry, I went a little outward. So this is where I found the demographics. The demographics. So yeah. So right, 52% had completed four-year college degrees, 24.5 had attended graduate school versus the general population. Now this was at a Canadian convention, and this was in 1977 because this was the only thing I could find. But if anything, it's grown. It's grown exponentially. These conventions are just, there's one like every weekend now. So, and again, most of them were readers. They were doing this on readers of sci-fi. So that's what the demographic was based on. But readers of sci-fi are also the people who go to conventions. So it's a logical conclusion that they would be there. So, what I do. So, I go to their website. The conventions all have websites. They have lots of contact information at the top. They have the, for vendors, they have for nonprofits. So what I did when I was ready to go to WindyCon is I just clicked on the link and I said, hey, we're a nonprofit and I think, you know, we would have some interest among the people at your convention. Can I have a table? And they said, sure, all you have to do is buy a couple of badges because you're going to be going in and out of the rooms. So fine. So I went to my group and I said, this is what I want to do. And we actually have, it's called the GOBS Fund. It's a legacy that somebody left us. So we have some money that we can use. So I know not everybody has that, but everybody has some funds available for recruiting, I would think, at the local level. They should allot some funds for that. Because the more people you get, the more money you get back to Mensa. Hi, how are you?
Sorry.
No, you're fine, you're fine. So I also developed relationships because all the other conventions, they have tables at the convention. So if you go to WindyCon, DuckCon, and MuseCon, and Capricorn, they have tables there with propaganda for their conventions. So now I go up to them and I say, hey, I have a table down here. Can I get a table at your event? If I can have a table at your event, you can have an ad in my newsletter. Or you can have a table at our Halloween event. So, and everybody wants to do it. Everybody does it, everybody trades. So it's a table swap, an ad swap. And then in the case of Anime Central, they gave me 3 free badges at $75 a piece for the entire weekend because I asked. So it pays to ask. You know, the worst that they can say is, yeah, you have to buy a badge. Maybe it's $45 for the day. That's cheap. That's cheap. So I do the table trades and I offer them ads. That's free, essentially. So they give me, you know, the photo-ready ad for their convention. I send it to my newsletter guy. We publish it a couple of months before their convention. It's a win-win for us. And I've been making lots of contacts. So again, I know people from all that are running all the different conventions, so they know me, I know them. So now every year I go back to their convention. When I need funding, I ask. I ask my group, I say, this group is not giving me a free badge, so I need to buy 3 badges. And we vote on it, and they give me money. So, because it's good for the group. And I get lots of nice stuff from National. So they give me brochures and bookmarks and pencils, and they give me nicer, bigger stuff to give away. So I do a little raffle, I have a little box on the table, and I get the email address and the phone number. And at the end of the day, I give away a basket. They have like a blanket, like a puzzle book, water bottles, stuff like that. Just Mensa swag with the logo on it that National sends me for free. And
you mean National Geographic? No.
American Mensa.
Oh, American Mensa.
American Mensa, yeah. So they you know, we just have a program where they will send me stuff. So I have stacks of brochures. And so I arranged the table, and that's a guy who won the raffle, and he actually, I don't think he's been to a meeting yet, but I've seen him at 2 more conventions. He's like, oh yeah, I gotta go to a meeting, so I keep giving him tickets to come to the meeting because I just, you know, the more you do it, the more it sticks in their head. So who goes to these conventions, you might ask? There are some very, very interesting people at the convention. So this one, I don't know, has anyone seen the movie with the big giant blue guy, The Watchmen? No? The Watchmen movie? Oh, well, never mind. Because this was amazing. Because one of the characters in the Watchmen had a mask that the face would change when his mood changed. And this guy did it. I don't know how he did it. He found some kind of fabric. The color changed. And so it was just really amazing. But these people, they make these costumes from scratch. It's just absolutely amazing. But as you can see, I mean, these are things that Mensans, we're all into this stuff. Monty Python, Iron Man, Doctor Who. So it's really fun. You get to sit there all day and watch these people come by and they come over and they talk to you, and it's really fun. So what I do there, I take 2 other people so that we can take turns watching the table, getting food, going to the restroom as we need to. Sometimes we get kind of bombarded. Sometimes at a big convention, I've got several people standing there and I don't want to neglect anybody. So it's good if I have 2 or 3 people there that can talk at Mensa. So I find people who are personable and know something about Mensa, and I have information there about Mensa, so if they don't, they can kind of read up about it before people start asking them questions. But mostly I get people who have been in a while and are pretty familiar and can talk to people easily, and who are also interested in the stuff going on at the convention. So that's good, because then you can talk about that kind of stuff. It really makes people relate to you really well. Excuse me. And so I get there early. I have a tablecloth, and I have that beautiful banner that our national office sent to me. It's a expandable banner, and I have a great big huge one for outside, like a big banner. So if we have a big event outside, or I wrap it around the table, and then I have stacks of the swag, and I also have free monthly gathering coupons, and those have the name of the event stamped on them. So if somebody shows up for a monthly meeting and they have that coupon, we know that's where they were referred. Because otherwise, we have no way of tracking. So and I also give out test coupons, $10 off the test. So if they use that, then we have a way of tracking, knowing that that's where they saw us. So we talk to them, we tell them what fun Mensa is, how much fun we have, and then there are Mensans who come and they hang around the table too. So then it becomes like a little mini party, and everybody's having a good time. Sometimes I have M&Ms and cheesy poofs there, and it's just it's a fun day for everybody involved. And then we go around and chat with other tables and make more more connections. So one of the things that we stress when we're there is that you don't always have to take the test, because that's the first thing everybody asks. How do you get into Mensa? You have to be a genius, right? No. I got in on my SAT scores. So that's what I tell everybody. You don't have to take the test if you have a qualifying test score, or if you're just not comfortable taking the test. A lot of people aren't comfortable taking tests. They've been out of school a long time. Excuse me. So they're not comfortable taking the test. So we have the list there of the test qualifying scores, and we have information. They can go to the website and look it up, see the list of qualifying scores. So we try to make it less daunting, because that's the thing that is often a sticking point for people. And then at the end of the day, we leave stuff behind on the table. So even though we're gone, there's always stuff at night. So if somebody walks by, they're going to get pencils, they're going to get swag. Usually the name is still on the table. So we just leave a little trace behind, so even when we're gone, there's still some evidence that we were there. So this is us at the table at, I think this was WindyCon. It was actually a zombie theme, so we had a zombie t-shirt. It was really funny, and we made a little zombie man to sit there with us all day. And that was a good day. We had a lot of traffic at the table. We got to talk to a lot of people. There's a lot of interest. So, and it's fun. These are just other people. 2 of those people were with me, and the other ones were just wandering around the convention, and they just came by and hung out. And actually, the other thing that we did at that particular one was we had a room party, like I was talking about where I was recruited. They usually have 1 or 2 floors where all the rooms have parties, and they mostly have alcohol, which we couldn't do for liability reasons. But I know. But so, you know, we went with the theme, we tried to decorate, you know, just make it kind of cool. We had rock star, somebody brought in a rock star with the drums and the, you know, so you can play. And we had 175 people visit our room that night. And, you know, we had a sign-in sheet, so if they wanted to leave their email address, we had the, you know, information, the pamphlets and everything at the door so they could get more information. And just hang out and just make friends. So we just hung out and we had a lot of people in the room. It was absolutely jam-packed at one point. I couldn't find the picture of that, but it was crazy. So we had some little games to play on the table. We had lots and lots of good food, which is a huge thing. People, you know, you feed them, they're gonna come. So that was really good. And I couldn't find a zombie tablecloth, so I just got Star Wars because it was a sci-fi convention. It was all right, but it ended up being fine. So that was really fun. And again, I got the funding. It was only like $250 for exposure to 1,200 people. So that was really great. Oh yeah, see there's a Klingon. And there's a Robin up there. So yeah, so that was a really fun night. And there we are, all the Mensa babes. I try to get some hot Mensa babes to be there because, you know, there's a lot of guys at sci-fi convention, so. So we're the hot Mensa babes. So managing how we do this, because you kind of have to work up a process after a while or you lose track. Because again, there's one every week and I don't go to all of them, but there are a lot and I'm getting a lot more. This year I think I'm doing 5 or 6. So I have a spreadsheet where I put down, as soon as I get information on it, I put down the dates and I put who's going to be there with me, who's volunteering to be there with me, how much it's going to cost me for badges or no cost. Usually it seems to be no cost lately. And just have a checklist so that when I leave the house, I remember to bring all my stuff with me. Put it on the calendar right away because otherwise I can't keep track of it. And I have a tote bag, it's about this big, and it's all fairly neatly arranged. And I have stacks of brochures. It's always in my car, so if I ever meet anybody anywhere else, I always have Mensa stuff with me. So this is the stuff that I have in the bag. I've got pens and blue tape because they won't let you use regular tape on the walls, and I have sign holders in the raffle box and all of this stuff. And so it's pretty easy to put together a kit and just have it with you in your car. And then if I had one where I didn't even find out about the convention until like a week before, called them up, said, "Can I have a table yet?" And I was all ready to go. So I've gotten it kind of down to an art. Even though I haven't done that many, I've kind of gotten it down to an art at this point. And then afterwards, you have to clean out your bag because you get all this stuff from all the other conventions, which is good because then you got the stuff to contact them and everything. But also, you get there's just a lot of stuff with those things. Everybody's handing you stuff, so you kind of got to clean it out so it's not a big mess the next time that you go. So, I'm sorry, I should have stopped and said, does anybody have any questions? Anybody? Okay. So, the big question is it working? And how do I know? So, it's hard to tell. Because people lose things. I give them a little ticket, it's this big, you know. They put it in their wallet, they clean out their wallet, they don't have it anymore. So they forget about the monthly meeting. So we haven't gotten a lot of them back. Gotten a few of them back, but not a lot. So far we had one guy come to a monthly meeting, he took the test, he never joined. So, you know, we get money for him having taken the test. Eventually, he'll probably join, but he didn't join right then. So I can't claim I got that guy. They don't ask when somebody comes to take a test. They don't ask them, where did you hear about Mensa? I'm trying to get them to do that so that I know, you heard about us at this convention. But until we get more disciplined about that, it's hard to tell. So we can, so we'd be able to track when those coupons come back so we'd know for sure where they came and ask the testees if they had a test. So the bottom line is, we did get some people, we got 3 people, we have a gaming event in January. And when I was at WindyCon in November, I gave them the thing about the gaming event and they came. And that was like $75 a piece. And actually 2 of them were at the convention and they brought another person. So that's 3 people that we got to hang out with us all weekend and make friends, those are potential members. They may not join right away, but at some point in the future, they're going to go, oh, I wonder if they're having that game event. And, you know, we had a really great time, and those people were really nice. Next time they see me at a convention, they'll go, oh, yeah, I remember you guys. That was really fun. Maybe I should join now. So it may take 2 or 3 times, but my goal is to keep Mensa top of mind. I want to be at every convention. I want them to see us at gaming conventions and anime conventions. Anytime there's smart people gathered, I want there to be a Mensa table. And we're looking for other places that we could do that too. Some people suggested like county fairs and things like that. I don't think that's quite the right demographic, but there's got to be other places. So I'm always open and listening to people to give me suggestions on where to go to see if I can get a table. Because everybody seems very willing to give us a table. They're just happy to have us there. So it's really great. So anyway, as of last year, I can't claim credit for it, but we are trending upward. So I don't know. I'm hopeful that it has something to do with something that I've done. It could just be the economy turning around. I don't know. But I think we're on the right track. I think it's good. People are starting to see us at multiple conventions and come back by and say, oh, I saw you at WindyCon, and oh, that was great, and I've been meaning to join, and they take the stuff again. And one of these times they're going to join. I really feel that that's what's going to happen.
Susan?
Did you have a question? Yeah.
What do you think about political party conventions, especially maybe the libertarians?
You know,
Constitutionally.
Yeah.
Mensa holds no opinion.
Mensa holds no opinion, so I don't know
I
about
have
that.
to
But
go
that's
to all of them.
that's an interesting thought because there's an awful lot of people there. I'll have to think about that. I'll have to find out if they would be willing to maybe give me a spot there. That's a good idea. Yes.
Well, are we expecting the politicians to have the IQ suited?
That's a very
That does seem kind of counterintuitive.
It's
Yeah,
not the
you're
target
right.
I
audience.
don't think
Yeah.
it's the right demographic.
Right, exactly. but yeah, somebody said like art fairs, things like that. So I'm open to it. I just need more people to help me because I can't do it everything yesterday.
The first thing that came to my mind when you said other conventions was, and it feeds back into what Jutta and I talked about now, youth leadership conventions, global change, UN conventions, world vision conventions.
Sure.
I just did some Googling just now on like
TED.
Australian leadership conventions. That,
TED stuff.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I really just think, I think everybody in the whole world needs to start thinking this way, and we just need to, it's such a natural fit. As soon as I started talking about it, everybody's like, oh, well, yeah, why have we not been doing this? And actually, at the AG, a guy came up from Florida, and he sort of developed the same process as I did, just completely independently. And so we were swapping ideas. Like he has he got people to donate. He went around to like different game stores and got them to donate like multi-sided dice, different dice, and put them in a jar and had a contest. Can you guess the number of dice in the jar? Like, oh, that's perfect. You know, we have a big old bag of dice sitting around just at our Mensa game convention or collection. So yeah. So did somebody else? Yes.
You could also go to introduction days or weeks of universities.
That's true. Now, just a moment on that. The thing about colleges, we have not had very good luck recruiting at colleges. They've tried that in the past, and I think the deal is when you're in college, you're super busy, you already have your sort of social network, but it's when you get ready to graduate. So I actually, because I just graduated from college 33 years later, and they had like the alumni association there, and I thought, you know what, darn it, I should have a Mensa table there. Because these people are now going to be at loose ends. They're losing a lot of their friends, they're going off back home, and this would be a good time to catch them when they're getting ready to get out of college. So yes, we have thought about that, and that is something that I'm going to look into. Yes?
yeah, just my own experience from trying to do exactly that at university. When people are offered Mensa, so you just finished high school, you're coming into college, and now someone's trying to get you to pay to take a test. It doesn't work when there's 100 other clubs offering free beer and pizza and booze.
Right.
You just get ignored.
So
And
what's
I've
that?
had some quite sexist comments thrown at me, like, oh, if you would just wear a bikini, then maybe you go, no, that's not, no.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, there's got to be a way that we can tap into that crowd. But
You
I
get
think
introduced.
I think it needs to be at the end. But yeah, there's so many different places you could do this, and it's so easy. Yes.
Yes. I don't have a suggestion on a place where you could go. It's just that everybody started telling you suggestions that I now want to tell you mine.
Okay.
You don't. I am guessing American Mensa should have a registration sheet when you are actually applying the test.
Uh-huh.
So couldn't you just add a line? Where did you hear from Mensa? Instead of asking people, what did they tell you?
Yes. I've been asking for that. Yeah. So I'm gonna be pushing harder. I actually just met at the annual gathering. I met with the PR chair and the marketing director of American Mensa, and it was so funny because everybody kind of knows about me now, and it's gotten around because actually, I've got some more stuff that I'll tell you about, but. As soon as I walked into the room, they both pulled up chairs and said, "Oh, we want to talk to you," because they want me to start working with them to develop some targeted marketing materials for sci-fi conventions and some different banners, somehow work out some theme stuff, and like gaming conventions, especially there's huge gaming conventions, and the whole mind games thing. We could have swag about mind games. I mean, it's unlimited, so everybody's all excited about it. So it's kind of nice. Yeah. Did you have another?
Oh, I was just thinking getting chosen on the lead program is helping you.
Yeah, but you know what? Hardly anybody even knows about that. They know they know about me more from site and well, let me see where I am now. I'll show you something else.
Trending
Okay.
upward.
Oh, well, fine.
Yes, so we're
Please
trending
continue.
upward, and that's my long-term strategy is to get us some recognition. So last year, I was the chair of a marketing committee that we put together, and we hired a public relations firm. We used that legacy money that we had because a certain portion of it is allotted specifically for recruiting and PR activities. So I know most groups don't have that, but it actually wasn't all that expensive. And we really got quite a lot out of it. They got us in some newspapers. We got a live interview with two of our more prominent members. Beth Ann Demeter was one of them. And that was on the biggest radio station in Chicago. It was on their Sunday morning, their nonprofit when they talk about nonprofits and stuff like that. So they had a live interview, and it was on the website. And we had articles in the newspaper, and they put out press releases. Like when the board was elected last year, they did a press release and talked about Mensa. And we have a Filipino member who was interviewed by a Filipino newspaper because we're trying to get more diverse. We have some LGBT, yes, members, and so we're trying to get them more actively involved. And we tried to set up an interview and it fell through. But anyway, so now we have connections with the newspapers and stuff. So I actually have some connections now. If I have something to promote, I can have people I can call. Yes.
Some of the most hard-driven members I know are parents with troubled youth that are either part of the Gifted Children program or actually part of a separate society for gifted children. But the thing is, there's nobody that has more energy than a parent that sees their child hurt.
True.
So actually about 10 years ago, we spun out the Gifted Children program from Mensa Denmark to a separate society because they wanted to do political stuff,
Okay.
which we're sort of hesitant about.
Right.
And so in 10 years, back then we were less than 1,000 members, now we're about 1,400. And in comparison, they now have 1,000 families.
Wow.
And of course, those only last so long because
They
the
grow up.
bloody kids grow up and they have to leave. So now we're starting to recruit back into Mensa Denmark the gifted grown-ups. Because they're
Excellent.
it's only both the kids but also the parents. Because
Sure.
the parents will go to the summer camp for
Sure,
a week, and they're like, we're going to do summer camp work.
Right.
So we're going to say, yeah, but I mean, you can just join Mensa, and there's parents that come from Mensa that go into there, and the other way around.
So how did you identify that group? Where did you?
Well,
autistic?
or? No, we had a forum. We had many forums in Denmark, and one of the forums was for gifted children,
Okay.
or for the parents. Of course.
Right.
And on that forum, or out of spun the interest to start a new organization.
Okay.
And so that grew, and now we have like a symbiotic
Right.
something going on.
Sure.
But the whole point is, those parents are so engaged.
Sure.
It's so easy to get somebody to want to do something
For their
because-
kids.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I will
And once
say.
they're in, we've got them.
Right. Once they're in, we've got them. Well, I will say that many of the people who come up to us at the conventions, because it's a lot of parents are there with their kids, and so many of the people who come up to the table and have interest are looking for their kids. And so I always have, we have a separate flyer and separate bookmarks for Mensa Kids stuff and for the foundation, and also, I forgot to mention that I put newsletters out there and programs and stuff like that, so they can really see the stuff that we're doing. And we have a pretty good gifted children's program, and we have pre-meetings in front of our monthly gatherings for kids and their parents to come. So this is all stuff that we tell them, but to get to them, we got to be there and talk to them. So that's why that's why you're out there. But yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, I gotta add that to my list. Now that this is the second time I've given this, and each time I've walked away with a good list of ideas. So it's really good.
Well, you might, if you want to expand what conventions or something you're
Sure.
going to, I'm sure you have something for parents or parents that
Sure.
somebody who's going to be parents.
Sure.
So if you're there,
Right.
say, if you have a gifted child and you have,
Right.
challenges, hey, we're
Right. Maybe we can have some enrichment for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mensa Germany always teams up with the DGHK, which is kind of like the German Society for the Gifted Kids, which is very often as well parents who want their children to be gifted, but also parents who do have gifted children.
Okay.
And we team up with them for like the biggest fair in educational, for education. It's called the Didakta. Kind of moves around Germany. So it's always centered in a different city, and that's a great place to meet people. We talk to teachers, and ever since we teamed up with them, we're getting more creative. Unfortunately, I have to admit that the Germans put on the Mensa, kind of like the talkies. Like you choose your people so that they're really FOPs.
Sure.
And unfortunately, we end up with some people who are in Mensa, but who actually don't want to sell it. And so the people from the DGHK, they are far more active, they're really entertaining, but just teaming up together and going to educational events is also a nice idea.
Well, we did actually one of the things that we did. Let me see. Let me finish this slide here. So we had the interview, we had press releases, we had articles. Oh, and we ended this. We had a 9-month contract with them, and we ended with a photo shoot at Halloween because everybody's there in costume. It's a lot of fun. So that was in a couple of local newspapers, especially the one that was right there, the Wheeling newspaper, where we had the event. And American Mensa, Beth Ann Demeter at the time was our LOCSEC, and so she let National know that we had done this, and they publicized it. They sent it out. I think it was in the bulletin or something, and they promoted it as a good way to do things. That this was something that other groups could do and copy our sort of success. So the other thing that I do is I encourage, whenever we have a monthly meeting, I get up in front of everybody and I say, hey, I need more people to come to conventions. I need to know about more conventions. Do you have a convention that you're going to go to? I may be able to get you a free badge. All you have to do is stand behind a table for a few hours that day, but then you can have the rest of the weekend to yourself. So I'm doing that, trying to get more people. Little by little, I'm getting some more volunteers this weekend. As a matter of fact, I have a guy who's doing the convention for me. He's got my bag, he's got my poster, he's on his way there, and I don't even have to be there. So I am trying to train more people to do that. Sorry, next slide. Printed this off, so it's just a little easier to read here. So the other thing that I have started doing is I bring stacks of those brochures and bookmarks, and I just hand them out at monthly gatherings. I have them sitting there, and I have a sign that says, take some down and pass them around. And I talk about it before the meeting, and I say, hey, I've got a big stack there. Take a little stack, put them at your kid's school, put them at the library, put them at the store, the marbles store, wherever, where they have, games or gifted children toys and things like that. They'll let you, they don't mind, just put a few on the counter, just have them there, just spread it all around as far as we can. get it on all the libraries. I mean, that's a great place to have stuff. And we also sponsored a Gifted Children event for one of the members, actually the people who do the Gifted Children activities in our group. Their kids happen to be in a gifted school, so we sponsored an event. We purchased an ad, I think. Did we purchase an ad? Yeah, we purchased an ad, and we had some promotional materials there, and I put together one of those nice gift baskets with a blanket and water bottle and some games and some gifted toys and stuff like that, and they had it in their raffle. So that's a lot of exposure. It didn't cost us anything, like $150. So for a sponsorship, so it looks great, and we're trying to get out in the community more as well in other ways. So we are going to start doing. I actually am going to try to do one of those. I don't know if you have them here, but they have a tiny house program where they build little tiny houses for homeless people. It's almost like Habitat for Humanity. And so we're going to try to do that. We're going to try to have a Mensa group put together and find a lot. And I'm going to, because I have all the time in the world apparently. And anyway, I'm going to try to organize that and get some volunteers together. And we're thinking about doing like a river cleanup. Things like that where we can be, out there in the community and actually contributing to the community. We're a nonprofit, we should be contributing to the community in other ways. So that's the kind of stuff that we are doing outside of the convention scene. So my semi-conclusions, because this project is not over and I hope that it will never be over. It seems like I've done more than 6. I'm thinking I'm forgetting some, but officially I can only remember that I've done 6 conventions. It seems like I got it down to pretty much an art. I just come in and it's like, wow, it's almost like I just roll out the table and it's all ready and it looks great. And like I said, I don't know if it's affecting anything yet. I don't know for sure. My gut feeling tells me that it is. We are trending up. We haven't really done anything else to increase membership. So in the absence of other evidence, I'm thinking that it might have something to do with this. And again, it might have something to do with the economy. But I still think that it's a unique way. I think it's potentially effective for our group. I think it's transferable all around the world. There's, like I said, there's sci-fi conventions everywhere. There's gaming conventions, Gen Con. There's huge ones in Germany, right? Eurogames, huge gaming conventions. We should have a table there. It doesn't make sense that we don't. It's so surprising to me that it hasn't been already done, So it's just such a natural fit, and it's so easy to do. I just think we should be at every one. So, and I am available. I'm easy to find. I'm on the American Mensa site. I think I'm listed on the international site somewhere you can find me. That's my email address. And I can send you my spreadsheet, my tracking spreadsheet. I can send you my list of the stuff in my bag. I can, give you hints. You can always look to me, and I'm really happy to help because I really think this is something that we all need to be doing. So, anyway, any more questions? Comments? Yes.
It was too late. I wanted to take the picture.
Oh!
And it was too late.
No.
You have to turn a little bit to the left.
Okay.
Oh, me.
I'll take
Yes. Thank you.
And
Smile.
actually,
Yes.
Thank you. I'm actually going to post this presentation. I'm going to try to get it on the international site. I already have it. It's going to be on the our national site. But I'm going to see if I can get it on the international site because I think it'd be good to have that. Yes.
Two questions for clarification. Your monthly gatherings really cost entry fee?
Yes.
And if you say the membership base drops down, you mean relatively or absolutely? And if yes, why do people actively leave the club?
Okay, so actually, I probably should have put something in about this because another thing that but that's not really about marketing, so I guess it wouldn't make sense. We did a survey. We did a survey for members who had dropped out to ask them why they dropped out. And then I put together a little more comprehensive survey of like a customer satisfaction survey, if you will, and just said, what could we be doing better? What would you like to see? What would it take to get you to volunteer? Because that's the biggest thing, is I can't do all of this. I have a very, very busy life, and I can't go every weekend to conventions. I need volunteers. I need more people. And every group needs volunteers to do stuff like that. You got to have people to do it. It's a fun thing to do. It's a fun activity. It's much more fun than a lot of things that you could ask people to volunteer to do. But we do need volunteers. So I asked them, what do we need to do to get you to volunteer? And we got the survey results back, and I fed them back to the board, and you know, we had a meeting and we discussed them, and we're trying to incorporate the suggestions in so that we stop losing members. So some of it is financial because, you know, our annual dues went up. It's fairly high in the United States, and it's $72, I think.
Then do you charge monthly stuff like attendance?
So if you come to the monthly gathering, it's $7 for members. I think it's $3 for member kids. It's $10 for non-members, which we have a lot of non-members that actually come, spouses, but also friends.
So you invite also non-members
to the gatherings?
To the gatherings.
Yeah, to an extent. Officially, they're only allowed to come twice as a guest, but we welcome them. So yeah, they keep coming.
Don't you think
But they have to pay.
They do have to pay because we have. Did you see the food display that I showed? We have that ×4 at every. We have a table from there to there with tons of food and soda, and we're there from 6 p.m. until midnight. So it's a pretty significant. I was the treasurer for a while, and I was the one writing the checks, and we spend a good amount of money on food to make it a nice experience, and we buy games. We have hundreds of games. So, you know, we're giving them some value, and we have a speaker. We have an interesting speaker every month. Sometimes we have like a musician. We had a drum circle thing once, and we have to pay them. So we don't break even. It just almost covers the cost of the meeting. So that is why we charge. But that's why I give the free coupon. So I say, you can try us before you buy us. If you come to the meeting with the free coupon. Yes?
I don't know if you can use this, but I find the biggest conversation starter is some of the coolest t-shirts around. And well, I'm driving the Hells Mensens in Denmark, so I find that the coolest thing. But I mean, there's other things as well. Like my son proudly wears the "I'm not strange, I'm gifted."
Yes.
And that kind of thing. And of course, some people will feel about wearing it, but the thing is, the people that comment on it and respond in a positive way are usually getting it.
Right, right. That's true.
And that's a way to spread it around. So more members just become walking posters for what we do. They just have to be fun and a little weird.
And that's part of the problem is a lot of Mensans are not very, bye-bye, see you later, TK, are not very sociable. You know what I forgot? Actually, I want to play this really quick so you guys might get a kick out of it. I'll have to turn it up really quick. Oh, wait, I have to do it up. This is how I am. I met people on the train coming over here, and I was just talking to somebody. They asked, well, what, are you here on business or pleasure? And I said, oh, I'm here for a Mensa convention. Some people don't want to tell people they're in Mensa. I don't care. I think it's a fun club. I talk about it everywhere I go. So I started talking about it. Lady in the next seat overheard me talking about it. She said, our son, who's sitting right here, is really, really, really smart, and he loves to play games. I'm thinking this would be really good for him. So I gave her information. She gave me her card. I do this everywhere I go. I have cards and bookmarks on my car. I always have Mensa stuff. I give out my address. I give out the Mensa website. Everywhere I go, I talk about Mensa. So yeah, we do. I think everyone should do that. Wear T-shirts, talk about it, tell where you're going and the fun stuff that we do. It can't hurt.
Yes, but in France, for example, being member of Mensa is a negative thing.
Yeah, and that's a shame. It depends on the person. Why is this not?
It's something you can put it in your CV, for example.
Yes, yeah, and you know what? We have a lot of discussion about that, about whether that's a plus or a minus. I am putting it in mine because I'm in leadership. So, it may not work this time. It worked before, didn't it? It worked just fine. Oh well. Well, I was interviewed on YouTube, and somebody saw it. I sent it around, and it got back to national, and somebody said, you are a great ambassador for Mensa. And I went, oh, maybe I should sign up for the Leadership Ambassador Program, and that's how I got here. So it was just kind of funny that I did that. But Yeah, we do have a lot of discussion about whether it's a plus or a minus. For me, it's a plus because I'm in leadership. So it's a leadership opportunity. So even if they say, oh, Mensa, you're smarty pants. Yeah, but I've been a general representative. I've been on the board of directors. I've done all of this leadership stuff. So even if they look at Mensa as a negative, the leadership stuff is a positive. And my work is so happy about it. It's on my performance appraisals. And it's a very positive thing because I don't have leadership opportunities at work. And there's leadership opportunities for anybody in Mensa. So it's a network opportunity as well.
And there are companies actively seeking gifted employees. Some.
There you go. There you go. So yeah.
My question to you
yes, sir.
is out of about 100 people who approach the booth at a convention, about how often would you get some kind of negative reaction or feedback, like people thinking that Mensa is for people who think that they're better than others or something like that?
I hear that very occasionally. I hear it sometimes, like, oh, you just want to join because you think you're smarter than everybody else. And I say, there's people in every group that are jerks. But most Mensans are just there for friendship because it's fun. And they say, what do you do? I say, we play games, we eat food, we have big giant parties that we stay up all night and play, Cards Against Humanity and drink whiskey. And, I just talk it up. We have great parties. And it's a great way to make friends. I was pretty new to Chicago when I joined Mensa, and I didn't know hardly anybody, and now I have friends all over the world. So I tell people that, and they go, oh, that sounds really good. The thing I hear most is that I don't think I'm smart enough. And when they say that, I just say, well, have you ever tested in the top 2% of a standardized test? Or, did you get good grades in school? And among the people that I meet at the conventions, most of them got good grades in school, and most of them have pretty high test scores. So again, it's that demographic. It's the perfect demographic. It really is. So I don't hear a lot of negative. I hear a lot of interest. A lot of people say, oh, I've heard of Mensa, what is it? And I've got all the pamphlets right there to tell them. So it's a great thing. I really have a good time with it. I really enjoy doing it. And like I said, I think I'm doing 5 or 6 of them this year. So I'm trying to recruit more people to help me do more. Yes?
I think the important thing is when you are asked, perhaps by somebody who's critical about what is Mensa and why should I join and what is it and who do you think you are, is the way you answer.
Right.
I mean, if you feel, but this is a great opportunity, positive, and they're like, okay. So they're not like excluding me, they're just going, hey, we're really having fun, we're being pushed. I learned about myself, I learned to accept who I am, and I now can use my powers for good. And
I use my powers for good.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the clip. Maybe I can get it to play now because it's kind of fun. I just kind of wanted to show it. If I get it to work. Go ahead. See you later. Thanks for coming. Oh no, that's a link. Oh darn. Oh well. Anyway, any other questions? No. Well, thank you. Thank you for the suggestion. It was an honor to be here.
Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation.